Hello beautiful soul. In this video I want to talk about how I was always attracted to chaos because it matched my childhood blueprint. My nervous system was accustomed to that. So I was always in a state of inconsistency, volatility, unsafety. My nervous system was hypervigilant, hyper aware, adjusted to pretty much bad moods, danger, emotional unsafety, not being validated, all of those things. And so all of my friends, all of my relationships were matching this blueprint, this dynamic of chaos, of people who actually didn't show up in a healthy way, but I perceived them to be healthy because that's what I was accustomed to. It wasn't about connecting with people and thinking that we're compatible. It was about connecting with people based on what was familiar, which was unhealthy relational dynamics. The next thing that I wanted to mention is that intensity felt like connection because being in a state of calm never actually felt safe. Intensity felt like chemistry because calm wouldn't feel like that. Calm would feel flat. Calm would feel suspicious in some way. And this is love bombing territory and why we're sometimes attracted to love bombers. And I had two last year. The first one, I recognized it was love bombing and highlighted the behavior. The person said that they would, change. They weren't aware of this behavior. However, people's behavior takes a long time to change and they have to really want it. They have to want it for themselves, not because someone else brought it up. The second one happened a few months ago now. Again, love bombed again, and I recognized immediately what was happening. It happened on our first meeting, that those chemicals, that adrenaline rush, and thankfully I recognized the pattern. I recognized that that rush was actually adrenaline. It wasn't a feeling of safety, and I didn't continue on with that one. And it doesn't matter how much we've learned about ourselves or how much we can recognize these dynamics, they're not going to stop showing up. Love bombers, people that show up in unhealthy ways, are still going to come and connect with us. And it's about us recognizing that that's what it is and knowing what is and isn't for us, or knowing what the experience is that we want moving forward and what we're not really wanting to entertain moving forward. The third thing that I wanted to mention is that we're actually drawn to things that we know how to manage. We're drawn to things that are familiar. So if we've grown up in dynamics where we were soothing, and like I was parentified as a child, which meant that I was required to soothe my mum's emotional problems. And so when we're used to this, soothing other people's emotions, we're reading the room to stay safe, we're basically accustomed to chaotic people, then that's what we attract because we know how to handle that. It's familiar, it's a familiar pattern, it's a familiar dynamic. So I was choosing people that I was trained to choose, not necessarily people who were good for me, not necessarily people who were connecting to me on a deeper level. That's just what I knew. And so that's what was familiar. And so that's what I found myself in. Next thing that I wanted to mention is that healthy people felt uncomfortable because they didn't activate those blueprints and survival patterns that I was accustomed to. So someone showing up consistently, someone showing up with transparency, open communication, like all of these things were really foreign. Healthy people and healthy relational dynamics, they don't move super quickly either. It's not like 0 to 100. There's a process of getting to know each other. Things happen a bit slower. Healthy relational dynamics are calm, they're peaceful, they're slower than, the whole love bombing experience that I had been used to my whole adult life prior to that. And the final thing I wanted to mention is that healing begins when we actually realize that attraction isn't chemistry, it's the conditioning that we're used to. So that magnetic pull that I would feel towards chaos was not magnetic attraction, it was just an old blueprint being triggered. Emotional turbulence is not love. So now I choose people who don't trigger survival, they trigger safety. They make me feel safe. They make me feel secure. Not because I don't feel that within myself. I actually do feel that within myself. And when we feel that within ourselves, it's really obvious when someone comes in and starts to disrupt that. There'll be an anomaly. It'll be really obvious. We start to feel more tired than we normally do. We don't have enough energy. We're not able to show up in the other parts of our lives that we normally would be able to. And so for me, that has actually meant that I'm no longer attracted to people who show up in ways that are unhealthy. Whereas before, that would be really attractive, it would be exciting. That no longer is now because I'm healing. So what feels good for me now is peace, is comfort, it's safety. It's excitement in the right ways. There's a lot of things that we can experience that are exciting, but the excitement no longer comes from unhealthy relational patterns. It comes from experiencing new things, stepping out of my comfort zone in other ways. So I really hope this has helped someone. I love you. Bye.